Hey, look which one I got. Look what I got.
Here, Elizabeth, go choose a pretty color that you like.
Welcome to Watch Like a Kid,
a podcast where we watch your kid shows so you don't have to.
We are your hosts, Diane and Gabriele.
So come, be a kid with us. Hello, little butterflies. Welcome to Watch Like a Kid.
What episode are we on?
Yeah, I'm bad at math. We don't know what week, year, day, or episode we're on, but we are so glad you've stuck it out this long and that you're here with us, especially after the New York and Shanghai mini. So
I know. We're back in Paris.
I'm so happy to be back in my quaint little town of Paris.
Hometown. I mean, the line outside the bakery today was just unmatched. I couldn't even go and get my galette. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was too much.
It's like little town. It's a quiet village.
Little people waking
just
up.
Like every day like the one before.
Did I skip ahead too much?
I think so.
Bonjour.
I bet in the Paris of Miraculous, 6 eggs is not too expensive. I bet
they have free eggs.
I bet for sure. And the bakery's hoarding them all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All the flour, all the eggs.
And no one even cares because, you know, in our small town of Paris, we don't have to bake ever for ourselves because we just go to that bakery because they have everything for us at a very reasonable, if not free price.
Of course. You know what I just realized is I haven't noticed a single restaurant in Paris.
No.
I've seen about 57 different advertisements that have Adrian's face on it.
We eat carbs and cologne in our little town of Paris.
I love that. Let's trademark that, carbs and cologne. If you thought we were unhinged during the minisodes, it's just carried over. This is us now. Every episode we told you is going to get more and more chaotic as we go along.
And we are getting more and more unwilling to learn about every single character. Now, I know we just said it's a small town in Paris, but for a small town, we got a lot of teenagers up in this place.
Every single one of them is a superhero now.
It's a superhero. It's wild.
I can't keep track of them all or what they do. And sometimes Ladybug will just come up to a student and be like, here, take this Miraculous. And we don't get any backstory.
Yeah, no.
She's just like, here.
Can I trust you? She's
just like, here's what you say to suit up. And then that's it. We don't really learn too much about what like their power is or like how
it's just
helps.
Very fast.
We don't see how that person handles it.
I'm telling you.
They just embrace it.
The literary Bible guy is just so on their job that they're just like, the audience doesn't even have to know because I know all of it so well that I forget that they don't know any of it.
I want to start keeping a tally of how many times you mention our literary Bible.
I need to figure out who the person is, and we need to figure out.
I'm sure it's one Google search that we'll never do. How was your week? Were you akumatized at all?
Yeah, about 5 times.
Oh, no.
Right, yeah. I mean, we live in New York City, so what else do you expect? I don't know what's going on with the pigeons in Upper Manhattan, but these are not Brooklyn pigeons, okay? Brooklyn pigeons, they get it. They stay away from you.
They have manners.
They have manners. They have decorum, okay? The Brooklyn pigeons have decorum. The Manhattan pigeons, listen. I was waking up today in Manhattan to pigeons, and I thought they were dying because I thought they were banging into, like, flying into the window. But no, they're just flapping their wings, but, like, onto the window, like, hitting the window. And they're not even flying away. It's like they're exercising or something.
I love when they do the little tap, tap, tap of their feet.
I was about to akumatize and be like the anti-Mr. Pigeon.
Oh, no.
Because, you know, Mr. Pigeon wants to save all the pigeons. So I was about to be the anti-Mr. Pigeon and, like, I don't want to say I'm going to off the pigeons, but kind of ready.
The exterminator.
Anyway, how about you? I know you know what? Instead of, like, have you been akumatized, have you stopped anyone from being akumatized lately?
Oh, well, every day I am a superhero in my job as a nanny because every day is something very little problem that has a very simple and clear solution, but it makes the kids just go off. Especially the oldest one. She is 10 and a half. And for some reason she's been going through a phase where the smallest things will set her off. Huge tantrums. I didn't know 10-year-olds had tantrums anymore. So the other day, she was trying to find this sheet music that she needed for her piano lesson. And her teacher's already there. He's asking where it is. We have told her so many times that she needs to be the one that, like, takes her papers and files them away and keeps them in order now that she's old enough, kind of thing. She does not. And so she is going all around the house, suddenly screaming. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's wrong? She's like, I can't find the sheet music. It was on my desk. Yeah, I can see the butterflies. It's a swarm of them, like the pigeons.
A 10-year-old girl who can't find her things. Perfect opportunity for my Akuma.
Her memory is fading, but the anger grows stronger in its placement.
Fly, my little Akuma, and
evilize her. Yes. That exactly I could see happening in real time. And the funny part is that, looking back, is she was just looking through the house. She was just, like, hitting things, but not actively looking very well, like underneath benches or pillows and stuff. Because in her mind, she was like, I left it on my desk in my room, but it's not there. So it can't be anywhere else. Yeah. So she's literally crying now. The piano teacher is just standing there like, I don't know what to do, because he's just a piano teacher. And so I go into the dining room. There's a stack of papers that have just been piling up because we aren't touching them. It's her job to put them away. And I lift up the one top paper, and underneath it is the sheet music that she's been needing. Literally, you could have seen it if you had just kind of looked. You didn't even have to move the paper. You could just kind of see.
This sounds a bit Marinette of her.
Yes. And so I give it to her, and she immediately was like, oh, I found it. And I'm like, crisis diverted.
Oh my goodness.
No more evil doing for you, little Akuma.
Bye-bye, little butterfly.
Like, honestly.
And it happened. She takes the credit for it.
Yeah. And then it happened again 10 minutes later.
Oh, lordy.
Where she misplaced another piece of sheet music. Ugh. And that time, the piano teacher is like, you need to get a binder and put all of this stuff in it. I'm putting it as your homework. And I was like, hey, I'm not helping on that one. It's all you. I can't. It was a mini superhero moment. Not very big, but that happens daily.
If you didn't intervene, she could have been akumatized and grown like 10 feet tall, because for some reason all these akumatized people grow like 10 feet tall.
She's already taller than me. Did I tell you that?
Goodness, how tall is she?
Well, I'm not very tall. It's not hard to do, but she's only 10, and she's already over 5 feet tall.
Well, it's funny because I feel like I've been the same height since 8th grade.
It's same.
And I cannot imagine myself being this tall as a 12-year-old.
I'm pretty sure I got this tall in about 6th grade, 7th maybe, and then that was it.
No wonder we were so awkward. This body and an 11, 12-year-old?
Honestly.
Speaking of ages, 2 things to say about ages. One, I said this in the New York bit and the Shanghai bit.
Give it a listen.
Give them a listen. Marinette is still 14. Bonkers.
Because her best friend is 30.
30 years old. So today,
she literally is way too mature. She looks it. She has her shit together.
She has a mom shirt. No offense to her wardrobe, but she wears a mom shirt.
And she's like, I got you, girl. She's a little too good at babysitting.
She's got mom hips. This woman is 30.
This woman's 30.
So
and that's why you're wearing.
That's why I'm wearing a bit of an elevated.
Do you remember her name now?
Is it Aaliyah?
Alia.
So this is what the orange sweater is for. Yes. And what you got your
I'm wearing like a little muted green. It's cozy. Because I figured if you were being Alia, I had to be Nino.
Nino coded.
They kind of have their moment a bit this season.
They do.
They're a little more highlighted.
They're like a power couple.
Yeah.
They're really.
That's also why they're 30, because when I was 15, power couple, you're only together for 2 weeks and then you break up,
We honestly,
these people act like they're gonna get married.
These kids, the one unrealistic now, I don't know how things go in Paris, and especially small town Paris.
Small town Paris, yeah.
Maybe there's not a lot of choosings, But we are really baffled by how these kids are not just dating around. Like, they're really stuck on their one person, and they do not deviate, even when other people express interest.
I mean, I completely get it. You find someone, you fixate on them for like 6 months, even a year, and you are obsessed with them. But then if you find out another guy or girl has a crush on you, at that age, you immediately pivot.
You gotta pivot.
And then that other person doesn't exist anymore.
Especially, it's not like the people who are crushing on Marinette are icky people. We got Luka.
Okay, this
and
season,
Cat Noir.
We are going to go into how Marinette is just not doing great.
Marinette this season, I'm so sorry. I just want to apologize. If you're a fan of Marinette, that's fine.
That's fine.
Season 4 was rough for her, us.
Yes.
She's very selfish, in my opinion. Listen, all right.
Are we getting into it right now?
I don't know if
Are we jumping straight into the middle of the season?
When the cameras were off and the microphone wasn't here, I was like, F Marinette. Screw her. I don't like her. So she basically was like,
why are we going for hating on this 14-year-old?
I'm hating on this 14-year-old kid. I'm like Hawk Moth. Actually, sorry, excuse me, Shadow Moth.
Shadow Moth.
Whatever
He's got a new name now.
Yeah, I don't know. Luka has a birthday.
About halfway through the season.
Yes.
A little towards the later.
And so does his twin, I call her the mumbling girl.
Julika.
She talks like this.
Yeah.
And like sometimes the subtitles didn't even know what she's saying.
She reminds me of that one girl in Pitch Perfect.
Yes.
She just mumbles a ton, like...
Yes. Luka has a birthday, and it's because she's the twin. She also has a birthday. So she's going to throw a party, and then Luka's like, I really hope Marinette comes because I think she's been avoiding me, which she has been, because she's not healthy enough to like be in the same room as someone who she rejected. And they have moments like where he like is helping her with Adrian. Like, I don't understand why she thinks that they can't be friends. So now I understand she's 14, you know, I kind of get wanting to avoid the guy that like had a crush on you and it didn't work out. I get that. But she takes it a step too far for me when she tries to get him to not come to his own birthday. She asks his sister if she can get it to where he doesn't come to his own freaking birthday party. I think that's a step too far for me, Marinette.
I didn't quite connect the dots of like her be like, I don't want to be in the same room as him because he loves me. And I'm like, it didn't make sense to me. But I did really enjoy that episode because Julika finally got her Miraculous.
Yeah, she had to scream for it.
And I think, so I think that hers, out of all the friends and side characters, she has the best one. She's the tigress, purple tigress, I think.
Yes.
She has this cute little Kwame who's like, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
You know, like
his name's Roar, right?
Yeah.
She's like, Roar. Stripes on.
Or something like that. Yeah. And her outfit's just so cool. She has the cutest Miraculous jewel. It's like this like bracelet, but then it's got like these chain cuffs that go onto her fingers, and it's like so punk of her.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about how like this is a cool family all around. I mean, she's cool, Luka's cool, their rockstar dad is cool.
This season we find out Jagged Stone, which is like the cool rock and roll guy, is their father.
Amazing. And I love how Luka wears like his dad's face on his shirt every day.
Oh, but because before he knew that it was his dad, he was like the biggest fan besides Marinette.
Wild.
It's also wild that an international rock star is just so casually hanging out with kids and is like, hey, Marinette, buddy.
Dude, these adults need to leave
small
these
town.
kids alone.
It's small town.
I mean, now he's a dad, so it's fine.
He just walks his crocodile. That's so New York of him. But it's in Paris. I feel like this season wasn't very cohesive.
No.
Like, nothing happens in, like, the first 5 episodes, it feels like. And then a ton of stuff happens, and then they go back to having a few episodes where it's, like, just regular, like, not much story development. Which is okay, but I feel like they're just reakumatizing the same.
Mr. Pigeon gets reakumatized over
for like the 70th time.
I mean,
you know,
let the man go to space. Let the man take his pigeons to space. I don't see the problem.
I think I saw the lollipop monster like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, and the big baby.
The big.
One episode loves the big baby.
One episode, I literally was like, I bet it's the baby, and it was
the freaking baby.
The one baby in Paris.
Yeah, there's only one baby in Paris. Apparently, you know, I know it's a small town, but
yeah. But with Mr. Pigeon, that is the episode that Ladybug is able to make this little keychain jewel thing.
Right.
That if the person wears it, they can't be reakumatized. At least for now.
For now.
Because now we have Mr. Shadow Moth.
Yeah, I do not know why he's a Shadow Moth now.
He has... Because they fixed the Peacock Miraculous. And so now he's wearing both of them because Natalie has fallen ill. And for some reason, she can't walk. So they gave her, like, robot legs, which they never covered. And so he's taken over as wearing both Miraculous. So he has a new name, new outfit.
Yeah, I guess you can't have a bird that's not Peacock in your name anymore.
Yeah, so I don't know why it's Shadow Moth. And I think it's cute, too, because they get to pick their names.
Yeah.
When they become something new.
Yeah.
So, like you, your girl, Alia, she was Rena Rouge, but then Hawkmoth found out her identity. Yeah. And so instead of returning...
make a big decision.
Instead of returning the Miraculous for good, they decided to hide her. And her outfit actually transforms into more like camouflage blue. And, she, like, changes her name, and she's able to, like, stay hidden and still help Ladybug and Cat Noir, but, like, nobody can know.
Except for now. She made a big mistake. She tells Nino because she tells Nino everything.
Because they're such a healthy 30-year-old couple.
Exactly.
Because, I don't know, I feel like at 15 I could lie to a boyfriend easily. I lied to my parents. I lied to myself all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like it would just slip off the tongue. What I don't understand is... Every now and then, Ladybug will give out that little keychain to people saying, here, now you're protected. Why doesn't she just get to work and give everybody in small town Paris
mass
a
market
keychain?
It, baby. Like, she really should. I don't know what that is. Maybe they have to be kuntized first or something? Like, maybe
she just,
never been.
I know one time she forgot, and so poor little ice cream man got akumatized twice.
Oh my goodness, that guy.
That guy.
He just wants to sell ice cream. Shadow Moth said or something.
Oh,
bring me back.
He goes and he says, okay, fly away, my little Akuma. And, where he would usually say, and evilize them, he goes, and bring me back 2 cups of despair. 2 scoops of despair. Because he goes to evilize the ice cream man a second time.
Amazing. I will say, I think this season is getting better at, like, humor. Like, it's not taking
so
itself as
unserious.
seriously now. They're getting, like, really funny with the animation and, like...
Yeah, the transitions.
Yeah, a bit of a fourth wall break every now and then. It's just really... It's getting really funny. So, I will say that.
All those superheroes, the Avengers, they all assemble so many times throughout the series. And it doesn't...
One time they have an entire soccer game.
You know me, I don't get all the superheroes.
I know, you really don't like that. I don't mind it.
I don't mind it every now and then. Like, I do like it when they're like, we need one person to come help us out.
Something that's bad about all these people getting together is that now Cat Noir is not able to fight as much.
The reason we're not as big of a fan of Marinette is because when she's Ladybug lately, she will be really sweet and nice, and they're good teammates together in an episode, and then the next episode, for no reason, she's like yelling at Cat Noir.
Screaming. She's mean. She's really mean.
He's like, it's sad. He literally is just asking if he can kind of be a part of it, like knowing the other people's identities or helping her get a Miraculous to someone, or maybe he takes on another one, and she's just like, no, nobody else can wear like 2 at once, but she's wearing like all of them at once,
Yeah.
And so he's a little butthurt about it because he's all about trust and openness. And I remember she had all the Avengers assemble, and he's just sitting at home, and I'm like, why didn't she call him up? It didn't make sense. They didn't go over that, and so he just is like,
he's getting upset. Also, anytime he's like flirty with her, now that she like gets really, really mad and like screams at her. So one time she like kind of went overboard, so he gets really upset. He's transformed back into Adrian. Mm-hmm. He's so upset, in fact, that he asks his driver to like stop the car so he can go cry at the fountain for a while. Honestly, amazing. So he goes out, he's a sad boy at the fountain, he's crying, and Marinette sees that he's sad and is like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity for Operation, make Adrian feel better or something like that. She's so excited. She gets this gift. She's going to make Adrian feel better. But it didn't really feel like it was coming from a place of like empathy. It felt very much like it was coming from this place of, oh, I finally can like make Adrian see that I'm someone who, I don't know, it just seemed kind of more self-motivated or self-focused.
I think that's also why I'm kind of over the whole her being absolutely obsessed with Adrian, because she has not one but two guys who have said how they care about her in very different ways. You know, Luka's very patient, very understanding, and they both back off when she says no, which is also great. But she also has Cat Noir, who's like flirting with her, says he loves her. She always thinks he's joking, even though he's really told her, like, no, I'm serious. And same with Luka. And I just don't get how she can have two guys who are really ready to be with her, who really like her, and she doesn't have to like them back. But I don't see how she can just act like that doesn't exist and act like, oh, nobody's going to love me, or like, oh, I only want Adrian to see me. Why doesn't he see me?
Yeah.
I would have just been like, okay, it's not going to happen, or like, let's move on. Like, she's becoming almost too obsessed at this point.
And it's interesting because it seemed like that's the route they were going to go at the end of season 3, right? Where she let him be with Kagami. She went and sat next to Luka. She was like, it felt like she was going to let Adrian go a little bit. In New York, she was like, I'm letting Adrian go, like, whatever.
And literally, I think, like, the first episode or two into season 4, they just, like, nixed that storyline with both Kagami and Luka.
Yeah. Honestly, Kagami was kind of mean in season 2. I don't really understand.
At the end of the season, which we'll get into a bit more, his dad wants to send him away, and everyone's so excited because Adrian apparently has never been anywhere because his father's never let him travel, never let him go anywhere. So he's about to go on this tour for like 6-8 weeks or something. But Marinette doesn't want that to happen because he's going to go with Lila. But she already knows that Adrian doesn't trust, does not like, and is not going to fall in love with Lila. Because she's not a nice person.
It's more, their relationship is kind of a publicity thing.
Yes, and Marinette should realize that because Adrian has said that before. But Marinette goes, I can't let that happen. No way, not on my watch. He's not leaving me for 8 weeks. And at that point...
Which is like a summer. Like, you've never spent a summer apart from someone before. Like, come on.
At that point, I was like, this is more than just, I'm like kind of in love with this dude. This is just like, you want to kind of have control over him in a weird way.
It definitely seemed like for a second she stopped seeing Adrian as like a person. We're not on the Love and Marinette train right now.
Or Ladybug. The way she treats Cat Noir when he's just being very vocal about his feelings and where he's at, and how he even says, I can't do it anymore, and he gives her the Miraculous back.
He does.
And it's a whole episode where she kind of sees the wrongness in her ways and tries to give it back to him, has Plague go and track him down. He even changes himself for her. Yeah. He pretends to be a different Cat Noir.
And she likes his Cat Noir. She's like, because he's like, does everything right. He's not like playing, he doesn't make it playful.
He's not flirting with her at all. And it makes sense. Like, the guy that doesn't want you, you want. Which is probably why she's so obsessed with Adrian. Yeah. But at the end of the episode, she realizes she needs the original Cat Noir back. And he's happy about that. But then 2 or 3 episodes later, she's back to yelling at him about the same thing.
And it's
she hasn't learned her lesson
much. And so it's getting like really complicated and really messy and really sticky. And then we get to the last episode.
And it just gets even
wild.
Messier. But before that, though, there was a really good episode that you really liked. I didn't understand why it happened. I mean, it was still a good episode.
It's a good episode, but they need to stop doing all these false starts. So something that Miraculous likes to do is have these false starts where we think that Ladybug and Cat Noir or Adrian and Marinette are finally going to like be an item. They keep doing that thing. And so in this particular one, we see them, they reveal their identities to each other. And which is a very big deal because you're not really supposed to do that. But it was because they couldn't find Cat Noir one day because Adrian was doing an interview for his dad. And so what's that guy's name? That's like the new Mr. Fu kind of guy.
Oh, there's we didn't even get into him. There is this new celestial guardian. He's not exactly Mr. Fu because Marinette is the holder, but he does come in early in season 4 and he tries to take the box back. And I laughed so hard because he was so real, like breaking the fourth wall almost, because he looks at them and he goes, why did Master Fu pick teenagers to hold such powerful Miraculous and to be these superheroes? And I was like, you know what?
Why?
And so at first the Celestial Guardian's like, I need it back. I don't trust you. Give it back to me, yada yada. And then he just kind of disappears. He's like, whatever. Basically, he comes back and he's like, I need to know y'all's identities, or at least Cat Noir's or someone.
So we can keep track of them, because it's not good for you to not be able to find someone who holds the Miraculous.
Yeah. And so she says, okay, that's cool. Like, I'll find out, and then I'll come tell you, and then I'll have Luka reverse time, and everything. Luka, I'm pretty sure already knows.
Yeah, Luka found out who Ladybug was for sure.
And
they kind of implied it, but he knows.
Yeah, something happened where in an episode where Luka knows about Adrian being Cat Noir and Marinette being Ladybug. It feels like, because he went in time and he's found both of them, I think, de-transform or show who they are, which is why he was like, dude, you need to tell Adrian you love him. Like, he's like we are, where he's like, oh my god, this could be solved so easily. You know?
He's like, this is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
Yeah. And so he even asked her, hey, what if I found out who Cat Noir is and I tell the dude because you shouldn't know?
Right.
Because Marinette's freaking out that if they both know who they are, Shadow Moth can use that to akumatize one of them and force them to tell the other person's identity. And she goes, well, if I know, that's fine, because then, you know, he still can't really get to him or whatever. And she says, Luka will just reverse time and then it'll erase my memory kind of thing. So she finds out that it is Adrian, because he's been wanting to tell them for so long who he is. And she doesn't tell Luka to turn back time.
So she knows
who it is.
So I'm tripping, right? Because at first I was like, oh, they're going to do a fake out thing again where Luka's going to have time and it's not going to be anything because we've already had an episode like that. And that was your beef with this episode.
That was my beef.
So we've already had an episode like this. But I was like, no, this is different. You're like, just keep watching. So I keep watching. And then it gets even crazier. Ladybug decides to show him her identity, which you're not supposed to do.
At that point, that's when I started to have beef, because I was like, Marinette should have learned.
She should have. So now they both know who each other is. Adrian takes it really well because he's Adrian, and he's just like, I just found out that one of my closest friends is the woman that I've loved and admired for so long.
It's a little too accepting.
And then gives her, I think it's actually a direct quote.
Yeah, I can't
believe that.
I would need a couple of days.
And then he like hugs her, and so now they're a couple. We don't see them doing too many coupley things. They kind of just cut to the chase of this Shadow Moth thing. So Gabriel, aka Shadow Moth, overhears his son, aka Cat Noir, talking on the phone to Marinette, aka Ladybug, but
he says goodnight,
m'lady,
which is what Cat Noir says to Ladybug.
So now he knows who they are. So he goes to the movie theater to crash their date, and basically he akumatizes Adrian. So I'm at the edge of my seat because now we have Shadow Moth akumatizing his own son, Adrian, and they're in the movie theater, and Adrian's, akumatized or whatever, and so Ladybug has to figure everything out, and it's really, really messy, and so we have to get our boy Luka back in, and like
he is able to get a single text from Marinette before she kind of gets like captured and everything hits the fan, and he's able to know what it means, and he goes and gets his Kwame from her house. His Kwame, Sass, uses it to go back in time to that moment that Adrian is about to reveal himself. Marinette is like, what's going on? Something's wrong, because like everything's starting to get all messed up. Like cars are suddenly crashing into each other. The lights are flickering. So she goes and rendezvous back with Luka from the past, basically. And that's when the Kwame's like, hey, we've already been in the future. Here's what's kind of happening. We need to change it. And Marinette's like, oopsie daisy. And just kind of is able to solve it all. So much happens in 10 seconds. Every now and then we might like forward. Gabby likes to forward fight scenes and stuff.
They're boring to me.
But literally so many times we end up having to rewind again because something happens within the 10 seconds.
Like a big reveal or something. And we're just like, what in the world?
Yeah. So at the end, Celestial Guardian, he comes back and she's like, hey, I tried. I can't know who Cat Noir is, and so you can't know either, and that's the best way. And he's like, you know what? You're right. I'm like, oh, we've been here before.
Yeah, so I was a little disappointed. I just want them to commit to the bit, commit. Yeah. Like the next, if they reveal themselves in season 5, and then we turn back time again, I might have to not watch season 6. I might have to bow out. I can't do this again.
I can't do it again. Yeah. I can't do with them not learning their mistakes. Like, I feel like the first 3 seasons, they were learning, there was new things happening, the story was building, but this season, I feel like they just kept reiterating things, except for the season finale, which is wild, and you guys are in luck. There is no Christmas special.
No Christmas special,
no musical.
Although Hawkmoth was wearing like a candy cane tie, and I was like, what is this?
I was like, oh
Christmas?
No.
Is it Christmas?
Oh, no. There is a part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
And I love when there's a part 1 and part 2 in anything, because I'm like, this is juicy.
Except for the part 1 was not very juicy.
Part 1 was literally just Adrian's evil cousin, Felix, shows up again out of nowhere kind of thing. For some reason, he has learned a lot. He's learned that Gabriel is Shadow Moth, which they never go over how he was kind of able to find that out. He still has his aunt, but like the mom's ring. He convinces Adrian to swap, because at this point it's where we said where Gabriel wants Adrian to go travel for a few months. Adrian doesn't really want to do that, so Felix is like, hey, I saw on the news that that's gonna happen, why don't we swap? What I found funny is he's like, I saw you on the news this morning and I flew straight from London, and I'm like, it's literally like an hour later. You have a private jet? Like,
honestly, he probably does.
Probably
has a rocket, like a space shuttle or something.
Probably teleportation. I believe it. Movie magic. Adrian hasn't learned that Felix isn't a good guy.
Yeah, because obviously Adrian sees the best in everyone.
Obviously, so he's like, wow, that's so helpful. And so they swap. So they're like, okay, great, awesome. So Adrian pieces out, pretends to be Felix kind of thing, and Felix pretends to be Adrian. He goes into Gabriel's office, has some very advanced spy gear. I guess he's little, Mr. Gadget over here. And Inspector Gadget, sorry. He goes and he's able to get the password to the safe, which is where the peacock and the butterfly brooch and Miraculous are. He takes them. He's like, wow, that was easy. And then he finds out that there's another passcode within the painting of the mom, which takes him down to this basement where he sees the mom in that little Snow White incubator thing.
Yeah, and he's freaked out.
I'm really glad he freaked out.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to be like, oh, wow, but he got out of there.
He legit runs and is like, not okay. Yeah, he's like, no.
Ran away. And then he's over it. Like, they never go back to that. He doesn't even tell Shadow Moth, like, I know your secret, So he goes away. He gets on the train. He realizes that it's fake, the Miraculous jewels, because obviously Gabriel's not just going to leave them in a safe.
No.
Meanwhile, Ladybug needs help. She's assembled the Avengers. They need like a team name, because I don't want to keep like copywriting the Avengers, But she needs help with someone else. So she goes to Adrian, who she thinks is Adrian.
And meanwhile, she's already told Cat Noir that he can't help. So Cat Noir is all...
Yes. She thinks this is Adrian, right? But it's Felix.
Yeah.
She goes and gives him a Miraculous.
The dog Miraculous.
Which helps fetch whatever. He has this little ball. He can like tap something, and then later on he can go fetch it. Mm-hmm. That's very important. Remember that. Or don't. Up to you. I found it funny because I didn't realize it until the three of them are together. Ladybug, Felix as his superhero, and Cat Noir, because then you have the cat and the dog.
Yeah. And
they don't like each other.
Yeah,
they immediately are like, who are you? And he's like, I'm good. So Felix kind of helps save the day, so to speak. He helps Ladybug and everything. He's like, wow, like acting like he's such a good guy. Ladybug goes to retrieve the Miraculous from him. He's nowhere to be found. Because obviously he's Felix. He's not Adrian. She goes to and finds the real Adrian. She's like, hey, sorry we didn't meet up before. Can I have the Miraculous back? And he's like, what are you talking about?
And she's like, the Miraculous of the dog, I gave it to you. And he's like, oh, damn it, it's Felix.
And she freaks out.
I've never seen her this upset in my life.
She done made a big mistake.
She really effed up this time.
Because I think she just tells a little too much information to whomever she pleases. Because while they were fighting the bad guys, Felix being the dog Miraculous, she tells him that her little phone yo-yo thing she is able to grab all the Miraculouses whenever she needs it. She goes into detail about it and tells him, oh yeah, whatever, I'm the holder, here you go. These are, you can transform into, there's a ton of them. So what does he do?
He plays fetch with her little miraculous.
He taps her little miraculous thing. He waits for his moment, and then he fetches it. Yeah. And so when she's freaking out in Adrian's room, that's when it disappears from her hip, and she goes, oh, and then she just loses it even more.
And meanwhile, Felix is talking to Shadow Moth and is like, I will give you all of the miraculouses in exchange for the peacock?
Just the peacock, which we found odd. So, yeah, Shadow Moth gets back. I think he's as Gabriel then, though. And Felix is waiting for him still in costume. And at first he thinks it's Adrian, and then he's like, haha, uncle. He's like, oh, this little shit.
But he tells him everything. He's like, I know who you are. I know what you want.
But he doesn't mention that I've seen your supposedly dead wife.
Yeah.
He doesn't mention that. You know, that's just, he's trauma blocked that, like, completely. So Gabriel's like, why don't you, I'll trade you if you bring me Ladybug and Cat Noir's Miraculous. And he's like, no. And Gabriel's just like, dang it, I figured I'd give it a try. He's like, but I'll give you all the others.
Yeah.
I don't know why he only wanted the peacock one. Why didn't he ask for both? Because originally he tried to steal both.
I really don't understand that either.
Because the peacock one, all it creates is senti monsters.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I don't know what he
should have just kept the dog one, you know?
Yeah.
Or at this point, before they did the swap, I was like, ooh, are we about to have a new supervillain? Are we about to have some teenagers on teenagers fighting each other action? Finally, Shadow Moth can just take a breather. And I was kind of going for it. I was like, all right, Felix, you be the bad guy next season. Let's go.
Teen on teen.
Let's do it. But then he's like, all right, thanks. Here you go. He gives the dog one as well to him. I'm surprised. I thought he was going to play a trick and just be like, just kidding. Because he did make Gabriel hand over the peacock first. They didn't. It wasn't an even swap. So Felix really could have been an even worse guy. He could have just kept them all unbalanced.
He could have, and he could have been the new villain. That would have been so fun.
Yeah. So the season ends with Hawkmoth appearing, like his like shadow face appears over all of Paris and surrounded by all the other miraculous, and that's when Ladybug realizes that he has them all. He gives an ultimatum. He says, all of Paris, like we'll be chill if you retrieve me, they're miraculous. Same with all the superheroes, because he knows their identities. He's been tracking them. Yeah, and he also has all their miraculouses now. And so the only miraculous he doesn't have is Ladybug and Cat Noir. So Ladybug's on the roof. She's in distress. She's like, there's no one left. Like, I have no one left. What am I going to do? And then Cat Noir comes in. What does he say, Diane? Oh, he says, you have me. It's like, I'm here for you.
Which is, it really was actually the way it was a very cinematic moment. The way they did it was really, really good.
Because before that, they were literally on the outs.
Yes.
He was so mad.
Yes. She
was like, there was like that break in their like partnership. And he's like, you've got me, kid. Oh. You know, because she's up there alone. Yeah. And so we don't see him until we hear him say that. And then it like kind of like pans
out. And he's standing there all like confident.
And he's like, we'll do this together. And they hug. And I'm like, why aren't you falling in love? Yeah. I swear, at the end of every season, I'm like, next season it's going to be different. She's going to fall in love with Cat Noir. And it doesn't happen.
It just never does. But
I can't believe we're finally catching up and we're on to season 5, which is the last season they currently have out.
Yes.
Supposedly this year they're going to release season 6 sometime, which I'm super excited for. But season 5 is going to be killer because Hawkmoth, Shadow Moth, whatever his new name is going to be, has all these miraculouses. He was already really powerful when he combined the peacock and the butterfly, because he and Natalie kind of wondered how Ladybug was able to make those magic charms to deflect the Akumas. And so they realized that the sort of book that they had was just notes on what's happened so far. It doesn't detail all of the magic that you can create. So he realizes I can just kind of like manifest however much power I really want. And so he's able to create a mega Kuma, which is this big old butterfly, like that can go through the magical charms. So Ladybug can't even protect the citizens anymore. And she doesn't have her little group of superhero teenagers to help her.
It's gonna be madness. I don't know how they're gonna figure it out. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I don't know what. Yeah, because they just have her and Cat Noir.
That's insane.
And I know those are like the two most powerful.
Yeah. Well, how are they gonna have time for class? I mean,
I feel like school is taken on the back burner. You remember the first like 2 seasons? It's at school like every single day.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be at school this season much.
No, I do remember in the beginning of the season it was a school holiday. They were like, oh, they're coming in on a holiday.
Maybe it's gonna be like summer break or something.
I would like it if they had like almost like a dystopian sort of vibe to it, where it's been like 6 months or something. Hawkmoth is just like running amok, and Ladybug and
Our
Cat
small
Noir,
town Paris is in shambles.
Ladybug and Cat Noir are nowhere to be seen because they don't know what to do, and
they're hiding out in New York.
They're making out in a closet somewhere.
New York.
Do you think they'd have them come together?
Do you think they can get? Yeah, they can probably get help from them, right?
I don't know. Tune in, keep watching, send us whatever your thoughts were if you watched it. I feel like as a parent or caregiver, or if you're just like around children, this season was not necessary to watch. No, I'm sorry, but I just don't feel like it. There's so much we didn't cover. Like Chloe has a half sister that we just have like one episode about.
Alia renounced her Miraculous, which I guess doesn't matter anymore because all the Miraculouses are with Shadow Moth. But
she did for like yeah. And then she also, Alia in one episode becomes Ladybug. Well, I didn't like that. Because why can't Cat Noir be both for just one episode?
Cat Noir wears a t-shirt and shorts.
He's got a new outfit.
He's got loungewear. Our boy walks around on marble floors barefoot.
The animators, guys, they've really upped their game. Now, the story needs a little more work. We need a little more learning. Something new other than just like, ooh, that guy's getting worse now. You know, he still did not face off against Ladybug and Cat Noir. Like, well, I hope he and he had all of them now, so I hope he faces off. But watch him just like give them to a bunch of people. Well, Master Fu did say that one person is not supposed to wear all of them because not only will it create mass destruction, but that person can't handle it. Oh, so maybe it'll be like the destruction of himself. Because also the Miraculous can tell when it's like evil versus good kind of thing, which is why he had to be very specific in choosing 2 14-year-olds to become Cat Noir and Ladybug. Got you. Because it had to be someone good and pure with integrity and 0 time management skills, apparently. Oh, well. So. I'm excited to see how they figure this out. I'm really hoping that we don't just get into season 5, because they do this a lot, where we end on this really great, really gnarly ending, and then we go into next season and they act like none of that happened. So I'm really hoping that's not the case for going into season 5. I hope we don't just have a regular school day. Just a regular, the ice cream man is akumatized yet again. And then Shot or Ladybug and Cat Noir is like, woof. Remember we used to do this by ourselves, and now we're doing it by ourselves again? Wow, this is getting a little hard. Full circle. Let's hope that doesn't happen. At the end of every season, I'm still very excited to watch the next. Which is interesting. They still leave you wanting more. We will post, if you'd like, a cheat sheet of the highlight episodes of this season that you can watch if you want. Or you can have your child watch because some of them are just unnecessary. But definitely give part 1, part 2 of the season finale a watch if you intend to go into season 5 with us, which we hope you do. If you've already watched it, please don't send us any spoilers, but do comment about any other thoughts as vaguely as you can, so we don't spoil. Just spoil. Okay, fine, just spoil. Just tell us. I'm on TikTok. I've already seen a couple spoilers. I did accidentally. I was Googling something for research about Chloe's half sister Zoe, which I love. And I did tell her not to spoil me on that. Yeah, so I don't know. And I didn't want to research further, but something popped up, and I was like, so I don't know if that's going to happen in season 5 or very exciting. The movie, I don't know. So stick with us on this chaotic journey. Oh, we're stoked for the movie. We're stoked. Thank you so much. Reach out to us at watchlikeakid@gmail.com. Instagram. Bye-bye, little butterflies. Be safe, little butterflies. Don't get akumatized. Please, don't do it.
That's not a unicorn. That's just a pony with pink hair.